My friends, welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Mafia Sports Report. As always, I'm Dr. Love, and of course, right here, my brother from another mother, that is Sauce Bronson.
Yo. Listen, I'm the light-skinned man with the ashy hands, and I'm ready to go with today's plan.
Yeah, he's got a nice little cut going on there. Got his hair's cut, and they look good today. So,
yeah, I got a little haircut before the show, and then I gorged myself with a big old thing of ice cream, and so I'm on a sugar rush, so I'm ready to go.
That works right there. And you know what? What I like to see? I like to see chats right away. And we got our first couple of chats. We got Enya. What up? What's up? And what's up with you? Always good hearing from everyone here wants to chat with us. Sounds good. And then, of course, we got Papa Mafia. And we got,
yeah. So remember, if you send us a yeah in the chat, we'll yell you right back.
Not gonna lie.
And shout out to Yanni Black popping in for a moment. Eventually we gotta do a piece of Populars, get together one day. And actually shout out to Ewayne Black too, because he's actually he's the founder of his own special effects company called Imaginary Visions. So, he's an up and coming CGI guy. That's the term I can think of right now. So, shout out to him. He out here trying to find his way in life. So appreciate you for stopping on by.
Very cool. So, awesome.
You find him on the social medias, Imaginary Visions. So,
definitely gonna have to check that out. You know me, Sauce. I'm a very artistic person, along with yourself. We're all pretty artistic in our own ways. So anytime we see any kind of creativity used, we'd love to promote that. That's not a problem. So, but Sauce says he's finishing with the sugar rush. We'll go into this, but actually, me too, though. Now that I think about it, I had some ice cream earlier. So, but anyways, so WrestleMania, as we talked about a little bit last week, is behind us, and now we're moving into basically kind of that post WrestleMania lull, I guess you would say. It's a little different now, obviously, with the information about the Endeavor deal, Vince McMahon, Snidely Whiplash, I should say, or whatnot.
Yep.
But we'll go, and there's a lot of stuff to kind of go over here and there. But what I kind of wanted to do as an idea was the idea of the chapters of this last almost year, basically 8 months. And it's always kind of funny when I kind of come up with different things. I'm a fan of puns. I'm a very punny kind of guy. And I said, I like Star Wars. I like this. Let's try to do something fun with this. So as you can see on our thumbnail, that Sauce, graciously made us. We decided to kind of do it in little chapters. Of course, we're going to talk about whatever. If you want to pop in, that's not an issue. We're not going to stick to some very strict script here. But, you have a new hope, a new Triple H hope. And when Vince McMahon was basically kind of forced into retirement, like he should have really been retired anyways. Shouldn't have taken, buyout, like these payoffs for old sexual harassment deals and other, issues that happened. He should have been gone a while ago, but his out of touch ass, stayed there for so long. But Triple H kind of kept us and pushed us.
Because the old fart wouldn't go away.
Yeah, pretty much. But before he got started about the chapter, a new Triple H hope, we do have Papa Mafia on here. So Lesnar beefing with Cody now. Well, as we've seen on the day after WrestleMania, you have this big thing with Lesnar beating up Cody Rhodes. Yep, just demolishing him. All right. So now Cody has this big speech. Did you check it out yesterday, Sauce, or nah? Not yet.
Repeat that again, because you've been breaking up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, just let me know if there's any issues of breaking up, and I'll kind of see if I can do. But
I don't know what's going on.
I know.
Like,
hey,
your phone's on your end, and
like right now. Hello?
Yeah, right now, like I'm getting nothing right now.
And so I can see us
breaking up real bad. Like it's like you going in and out.
I have no, and I don't know what's going on, because we're gonna have to work with it. Just kind of let me know if you can't hear basically everything I'm saying. We'll have to go from there. So anyways, Lesnar had his whole spiel. Then Cody Rhodes came out yesterday on Raw and had this great speech. Seemed like it was about 10 minutes long. It was probably about 6 straight minutes of him doing this big. And it was a good. Don't get me wrong. It was a really good promo, good speech in the ring, calling out Brock Lesnar, who wasn't even there. That doesn't. Well, the funny thing was that doesn't surprise me. But apparently, there was a lot of travel issues with many of the Raw roster, so there was a lot of rewrites, not McMahon related, but just because people couldn't even get to the show yesterday. But the fact that Lesnar wasn't there, no, that was definitely because Lesnar wasn't going to be there. So he calls out Lesnar. He's for a match at Backlash. Okay, cool. I mean, what is this match for? You know what I mean? So yeah, is he beefing with Cody now just to have a match? The beef really doesn't make sense to me, because Lesnar, under the whatever rules they had, can never challenge for the world title again, and they even brought that up last week. So it's a little weird to me. It's a little weird why this is happening, but Lesnar's still under contract, and they need someone for him to fight. Hey,
Doc.
Yes.
Hey, Doc, real quick. I'm gonna exit out and I'm gonna come back in. You just keep the crowd going.
Okay. Yep. No problem. So, as I was mentioning, like, to me, I don't know what this is for. I don't know what, like, Lesnar having this match, 2 ways can happen. If he beats Cody Rhodes, I mean, it's kind of game over for his Rhodes push, So if Cody wins, and he should win, he would have to win clean, I believe. He couldn't, because he can't be the guy that has someone come in and come and fight after him or something. It's just very weird. It's a very weird booking, but most likely it's more like Lesnar has time on his contract. He's got matches left in his contract, and then that's it. There really, in my opinion, there's nothing else about it except for that. So I'm not sure. So, but yeah. So I don't know. As for your thoughts, Sauce, on the Lesnar Cody Rhodes thing, what are your thoughts on that?
Long story short, Cody Rhodes is coming back to WWE is kind of weird, because it's like he's not really on like eggshells or thin ice or anything. It's like the crowd is loving him. It's just like right now, when I see Cody Rhodes, I still see Cody Rhodes from like 2011. You know, he's trying to find his way. AEW, it's like everywhere outside of WWE. I mean, you know, he's great. You know, he's been pretty solid or whatnot. It's just like when it comes to WWE, when he comes back to WWE. Oh, real quick, just I'm over here watching NXT, and Braun Breaker just destroyed the whole Chase U group. This heel Braun Breaker thing is interesting right now, but that's besides everything.
Breaking news from
But
NXT. Thank you, Sauce, for the breaking news.
yeah. So yeah, Brian U's turned Chase U into Braun U. But as far as Cody goes, I mean, so since Cody's been back, I mean, the most memorable feuds he's been in is like versus Seth Rollins, which was kind of like a tester match, you know, to see how the crowd would respond to Cody. Then he goes on, you know, his little vacation, you know, for like 8 months, comes back. Then the next important feud he has is with Roman, where, you know, we all thought at this point, you know, he probably will, you know, become champion, get the belt, you know, right off to the sunset. That clearly didn't happen. So now he's got this feud with Lesnar. So, say what you want about Lesnar. Yes, you know, he's the bane of all of our existence, or not most times. But I want to say, as far as he goes, this is gonna be important. This is gonna be important for you for him, Doc. Because I think at this point, you know, it's all about how, as far as is Brock willing to put him over.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I mean, you know, yeah. Brock doesn't really need to do anything else. But I think this is going to be, once again, you know, pretty much every wrestler feud with Brock is always like David versus Goliath. And as long as, I think, well, as far as promo wise, I mean, Cody's been killing it these last few, you know, I would say the last 4 or 5 weeks with these promos. He's, you know, we you know, he's finally understood that we all know he's Dusty Rhodes' son. And
he is? He is? I didn't know that.
I know, right? Shocking.
Oh my God.
But as far as what's going on, D-Town guy? What's happening with you?
Hey, D-Town guy. Awesome, man.
Yep. But I think as far as obviously, you know, Brock, I can see Brock putting him over. It's just how believable is Cody Rhodes going to be for me. That's all. Because now I'm like, right now in the WWE world, I'm just like, he's here. You know, sorry. I mean, most part, I'm just here for the Kingdom song. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah.
So I've actually got something for you. I got a way to book this, and I think it would work going into whatever next show, but most likely SummerSlam. All right. So Lesnar, Cody Rhodes. Lesnar comes out next week on Raw. Confirms he's going to fight him, whatever happens, and then they have their match at Backlash. Match is happening, match goes on, and the returning Randy Orton comes in to help Cody Rhodes, and that finishes the legacy storyline in the sense of you've now built up, you are now part of the upper echelon. Helps him beat Brock Lesnar to set up a Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, not to say feel like a semi-feud, but they would set that up for SummerSlam. And there's precedent because they had that match happen like, 4 years ago or something, or five years ago.
It's been more than that.
I'm sorry, you're right. Hey, you know what? The pandemic killed like 3 years of my life, you know? So,
yeah, they had I believe it was a SummerSlam match. I want to say it was like SummerSlam like 2017-ish. Where Brock busted his head open with all them elbows, and Jericho tried to fight Brock in the back.
Oh my gosh, it doesn't work. He got him right away. So, in my opinion, I think that's the perfect way to do it. So it's realistic that Cody would win, but it's not like a dirty heel tactic. And obviously Orton's raring to go to come back. And I just think it would be a nice way to. You wouldn't have to continue the legacy thing, but it would be a nice kind of like reminder of that legacy, like. They stand to each other and be like, yeah, you got this. And then you take like RKO out of nowhere. And so, you know what? Hey, Triple H, Vince, whatever. Yeah, whatever's happening. I don't care. That happens. That should happen. But you never know.
Right.
Let's see. We got another one here from D-Town guy. They are doing him the way they built John Cena did when he lost to The Rock. So that's interesting the way to put that, because to this day I still thought that was an interesting choice to do that, to have Cena lose to The Rock. I mean, it was in Miami though. They were heavily pushing The Rock in that like heel, that heel mode. Like Rock when he naturally was a heel worked, but when they were that time, Hollywood Rock worked. But that time when they were trying to make him that heel, it was so like inorganic. It was still entertaining, don't get me wrong. But that's an interesting analogy though, for sure. And then Detailed Guy has talking about, I say Bobby Lashley will interfere and finish their feud. Also, a good idea. See, look at this. This is why we like, hey, we're coming up with the writing here for you. We're right here giving you ideas. We're giving you gold. All right.
Yeah,
but that's actually a great idea.
I mean, Papa H, I see, Papa H, I have faith that he might be watching this podcast. Vince, Vince don't even know we exist. So, Vince would just do the total opposite.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so as for that, that's my opinion. But I do like that idea about Bobby Lashley, because that would actually be a good way to actually finish the feud and give him something to do. Because the more every week, if they keep referring to him as the Andre the Giant champion, it's like he keeps going lower on those rungs. He did have a pretty good, solid match with Bronson Reed yesterday, but they did it to a double count out, right? I mean, when was the last time you seen a double count out? And I understand why they did it. I understand why they did it, because they didn't want Bronson Reed to lose clean, but they didn't want Lashley to lose clean. So in a sense, they kind of just they made them monsters, real hard hitting match. So yeah. And of course, we do have Avery with us. Yeah. Good hearing from you, A-Town. But moving on a little bit, and again, whatever you guys want to talk about, that's awesome. But let's talk about literally July of 2022. All the hoopla, the dirt sheets, and not even the dirt sheets, the real media coming out talking about Vince McMahon, all the payoffs, all the stuff that's going through. It's like, I just wish I was a fly on the wall of like the lawyers, right? And how they had to deal with all this stuff, and how they were like, McMahon most likely being the real stubborn, not wanting to listen to them. And it's just like, Vince, you got... I mean, I don't know what else to do. You can't be running this company. It's a publicly traded company. And you got all this baggage here. What's going on? Oh, my gosh. And then, of course, he steps down. He writes the very infamous tweet, I'm 77. It's time to retire. That's aged so well now, of course, right? It's aged so well. And we get the news that Triple H was now taking over creative. And that was just in time for, I believe, Clash of the Castle, right? Like it was kind of like right before that show went on. And it was just interesting seeing like the immediate changes that started happening. And then obviously the more long-term stuff was happening. But so in your opinion, Sauce, Triple H takes over, the new hope, basically, of WWE. What do you think, what was your like favorite thing that happened right out like with Triple H? Doesn't have to be your only favorite thing, but like that happened that he did.
I would say definitely Gunther not jobbing. Tag team wrestling coming back. I would say right now at the top of my head, those are like two biggest things. And just the most important thing, I think the biggest thing was the high morale in the locker room. High morale means people want to come to work. People want to come to work, which means they want to put on good matches. Put on good matches means that the crowd goes home happy, or people watching, are happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really the best thing. That's really the best thing to think about because, like the Gunther thing, you hit the nail on the head on that. The reports all said that Gunther was going to be jobbed out soon, very soon. Like it was like that close to him getting jobbed out. And again, another very, very infamous tweet by Mr. Limitless, Keith Lee, where he talked about how he was going to get, basically that you're going to be, I feel bad for you, Gunther, and then look at Keith Lee. But, that's another story. but,
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that Triple H, even though he didn't directly oversee NXT UK, but he did have a lot to work with seeing those people and what they came over to the United States and worked. So the fact is that single-handedly was the best thing. And, he was, again, when you're talking about high morale, absolutely. If you want to do something and you're happy doing it, you're going to put on a good match. You're not going to just go through the motions. And here we go, and we're here to get the paycheck. And they could be the best wrestler, top 10, top 5 wrestler in the world, and if they're bad morale, they're gonna put on a bad match.
Yeah. So
I was happy for a couple things, and they're minor things. First names were given back to a lot of wrestlers. That was a good point. We've got LA Knight pulled from purgatory, so that was very nice. It was the reason why that was more funny. They could have easily just wrote Max Dupree off TV, and then he just showed up as LA Knight. But they made it the point that he came out and was with Maximum Male Models. It said, I'm not with you guys. I'm LA Knight. And it was very like, look, we're done. We're done with this. Yeah, I was a fan of that. Yeah, I was definitely a fan of that. But first names coming back, Austin Theory, Matt Riddle. Yeah, it just made sense. Like, I'm sorry, the first thing, like, could you imagine if he had done that, like, with Cena, Kurt Angle, like, Angle, like, okay, Angle,
like
Kurt Angle.
You have names like, Cena versus Angle.
Yeah, and it's like
Orton
you can't say it's first name. The announcer, how the announcer really like with Justin Roberts or whoever, Lillian Garcia would get into it. Like it's John, nope, Cena
versus Orton.
Oh my gosh! So that's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, Orton. There's another one. Like you have these real people, real names of these people, and then you're gonna be like, well, that's what we're calling you that now. And it's like, well, it doesn't work like that. Like very few people work like Gunther, like Walter, that worked. Gunther, I'm behind now. At first it was a little like, but I'm totally behind it. It works. But yeah, it was just the tag team wrestling was good. People were brought back in the fold. Some we talked about before. Some for high regards. Some for not so high regards. Like Botched Dollar, Top Dollar, Flop Dollar, whatever. Whatever his name is. You bring him back, not so much, but you got to have jobber tag teams. I'm just saying, you do. You can't just have all great tag teams. You have to have the ones that you got to beat, the mid-carders, stuff like that. And
to get momentum.
You gotta, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of teams being put together, random teams like Braun Strowman and Ricochet, at least they're on TV getting seen, getting work to do. So as long as that's happening, I'm fine with it. Viking Raiders before Triple H. I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw a Viking Raiders match on SmackDown or on Raw or SmackDown. So let alone they were at WrestleMania this year. I mean, that's a great sign. So the tag team division now, especially with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, champions, whether or not they actually split those belts or they don't. It's all really up to the Endeavor deal. Like whatever, when everything gets solidified, when they have the two shows, do they want to have separate belts for both shows? Do they want only one belt in the traveling champions? Only time will tell at this point. But yeah, Triple H definitely had a very quick impact on the wrestling world. And It's funny because a lot of people would say good stuff. Then there were people that were saying like not so good things, and not to the point like Vince McMahon bad, but it was like, okay, I get it. Maybe he's pushing some people more, and maybe they're not ready for it. I don't believe that at all. I say, if they're not ready for it, then they have a bad match or two, then you get popped back down, or you're not going to be high on that card. So I don't know. I know the good he's done heavily outweighs any bad decisions he might have made.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. He's had a couple flounders. Damage control. And then he's also like you said, top dollar. I mean, hero. So everything he did was a total grand slam.
No, and that's the thing about it. Like when you mentioned damage control, you talk about bringing Bayley back after so long, and then having her immediately flop. Like I say, flop. We're still talking about the flop dollar, top dollar. Just kidding. But it's like, why would you bring Bayley back and then have her job out immediately several times to Bianca? I like the fact that you brought back in, you have Io Sky, former NXT Women's Champion, and then you brought Dakota Kai in there, and it was nice because, again, setting up a team. You set up a team here. Not sure if Sauce can still hear me, but if you guys can, I'm going to keep talking. So, you stopped there for a second, Sauce. I'm not sure if you heard me, but I'll just keep talking.
You cutting out.
Yeah, like I said, I am not sure because I think Papa Mafia is saying we're both good. So, so Papa Mafia, if you're listening, just let us know, okay? Because we won't know either way. But yeah, Dakota Kai, I think it's good. Like I said, a real tag team built, I'm fine with, but they just kind of meh. So, oh no, Papa Mafia saying it's Sauce.
Yeah, so let's do this. Let me log out. Let me exit off about 5 minutes, reset this router, and come back.
Okay, no problem, Sauce.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you in just a few minutes, Sauce. Hey, you got Dr. Love. Sauce, he'll be right back. Some technical difficulties. But I'll tell you right now, tag team wrestling has always been a hard thing to sell. It comes in generations. You see the tag team wrestling before the Edge and Christian and Dudley boys came up and the Hardy boys and whatnot. It's like that before that, like right before, it's like right after you had like LOD and, Demolition and stuff like that. It's always these lulls where they don't really care about that tag team wrestling. Then it gets a big boom. Then you got a lot of the rando teams put together, even for, and this is a fun statistic I always like to mention. Before John Cena became, Dr. Thugonomics, he was tag teaming with Billy Kidman. Really, like he was in the tournament for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship when they first debuted on SmackDown. They teamed with Billy Kidman, and he was doing several matches upcoming weeks. Like, just imagine that. Like, really? But again, I get the reason for doing random teams together. It's just, it's even harder for the women. So when he was bringing up damage control not working, I'm happy that they were brought in. But yeah, Bayley's been booked very terribly. And, even though Dakota Kai and Io Sky are like, what, 3-time women's tag team champions, they're like, they don't put them in more matches. They just kind of are floating by the wayside. And now, based off of what I've seen yesterday, Io Sky has now got a number 1 contendership against Bianca Belair, most likely not winning, most likely Bayley interfering, and again, most likely damage control breaking up. I'm, it is what it is, but I don't want the other women to not, like, someone's going to be like lost in the shuffle. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be Dakota Kai. She's going to be lost in the shuffle on that. And it's pretty, I don't want to see it, but it's probably going to happen. But it does look like we do have, let's see. Oh, we got D-Town Guy. What are you guys hoping to see in the upcoming draft? Yes, as Triple H came out on Raw last week, he mentioned they're bringing back the draft. So, well, okay. Here's my thing. The past few years, we never really had a real draft. It was kind of like they would have the draft, and then people would just switch shows when it was convenient, And if they treat it like a real draft, like they did back in the day, which is interesting because your roster is not even near as big as it was when they did that original draft, the brand split draft. You're going to see things happen. You're for sure you're going to see Judgment Day move over to SmackDown. Rhea Ripley, SmackDown Women's Champion. It makes sense. So she will go over to SmackDown, and she'll be, Judgment Day will run stuff over there. And like I said, that makes sense. You have the newly formed LWO, which again, apparently that's going to be the new thing going forward, which it's very funny, especially if you were an old WCW fan and knows like the LWO from the WCW, Eddie Guerrero wanting Rey Mysterio to be part of the team and he was refusing. And now seeing Rey with the shirt on, it's kind of funny. It's more funny than it should be. But like I said, I see Judgment Day definitely going over there. If the belts again are split, or if we get a new belt or something, like that's the big problem is about the belt still being unified. So, but if the belts, once they get unified, if they get split, that's our thing. So, and we got Sauces back in the house.
All right, we'll see for how long.
Hey, well, like I said, that's all we need. So, but I was talking, D-Town guy was talking about the draft, and he said our thoughts about the upcoming draft. So,
okay.
And I kind of was giving my idea, like Judgment Day will move over to SmackDown most likely because of Rhea Ripley, SmackDown champion, women's champion. Everything else is kind of tossed up in the air to me, like Seth Rollins, for example, he's gonna stay on Raw, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, if they're champions, they'll bounce to both shows unless they split the belts.
Right.
Bobby Lashley, I could see him move. I could see him move to SmackDown, I guess. Braun Strowman and Ricochet, they need to move to Raw. That they need to move the Raw, I believe. And even the Viking Raiders probably should move the Raw. Alpha Academy, depending on if they're together, move over to SmackDown. And yes, D-Town guy, you did bring up a good point right here. What tag teams are splitting up, and apparently Street Profits are going to be, this is how they're going to split them up. So instead of doing, well, it's actually a smart way to do it because you don't, instead of doing like the heel turn and like, Montez has to be a heel. This is a natural way to split them, similar to what they did with Bubba Ray and Devon in that first brand split. I mean, when you had Reverend Devon.
But does that mean we get Reverend Dawkins?
Oh my! Hey, you know what? I wouldn't put it past them with McMahon. McMahon says in the corner, he goes, "Hey, we did that with Devon. Hey, Reverend, the good gimmick." He's like, "Vince, shut up. They can even use the old music. They'll totally use the old theme music. Hey, call my name." Hey, you know what? I wouldn't put it past them though. So, oh my gosh. But it's actually a smart way to do it. So yeah, they'll be split up because of the draft right there. Let's see. Maximum Male Models are already on Raw. They moved them over because of the whole thing with Otis. Trying to think of the other teams and whatnot, because I was saying Viking Raiders. Now, I do think the LWO, because that's actually that group now, Sauce. I don't know if you saw the reports about it. It's just funny to me, right? I was telling everyone here, in WCW, when LWO was at its highest, there was a feud with Eddie Guerrero trying to recruit Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio didn't want to be part of them. So literally seeing him with a shirt on now, it just makes me smile a little bit. It's like
we've come full circle.
We really have come full circle. It's pretty funny. But I do, I do like it, like seeing that. I'm like, man, what's the odds that you would have seen LWO in 2023 in WWE? Nobody.
I would have told you to stop drinking Flint water.
I mean, it's something else. But what else do you think? What else do you think you're going to see in the draft? Sauce?
Well, the biggest thing, like I said, is profits breaking up. Me personally, just go ahead and split up Ricochet and Braun, and neither one. I don't want to see them two together anymore.
Yeah.
Riddle just came back to Raw. Just throw him on SmackDown.
Yep.
Are we talking about who we just want to see in general? Or are we talking about Are we still talking about the fate of the tag teams?
Well, I mean, the D-Town guys, I just said, like, what do we hope to see in general? And then he also said tag team. So, yeah, in general, like, what else do we, you know?
And then let's say whoever takes Raquel Rodriguez's heel, whoever's going to turn her heel, that's where she needs to go.
Yep. I like that. I like that right there.
And then that's probably, I was going to say that's when you'll see Braun Breaker show up, but he just turned heel in NXT, so he's probably going to be on another program. He's probably going to be doing we talk about
and that's what D-Town guys are just NXT call-ups. We wish, but as Sauce was mentioning, and what they've been doing on NXT, they're making Braun into this, heel Braun character, which is so weird that they're doing this. It's just very weird.
What heel Braun reminds me of right now?
What's that?
Heel Goldberg. It's like something that really doesn't make sense. But given it's 2023, I'll at least see how it plays out. I'll give it a first month. Then if I don't like it, then I'll just say it's booty cheeks.
If he comes out with a chainmail on, though, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind if he comes out with a chainmail on. So
you know who I would like to see get called up, but I think they'll have to be on the opposite show as Maximum Male Models is Pretty Deadly.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that
only because they will be going up. Obviously they'll be going to the main show. They probably will tone how they dress a little bit. I don't see them wearing the same tops they're wearing now, but they'll be pretty cool to show up. And I think because that team they could definitely get over with the crowd.
Oh yeah.
But there ain't really too many people down in NXT right now that's really ready to get called up. I mean, Darren Waller. I mean, but he's kind of like Miz. He's kind of like the Miz from like 2017. He's only like Miz 2.0 if he goes up.
Yep.
So
the problem I have with Grayson Waller, here's my problem I have with him is if they brought him up, he would have to be SmackDown because his personality is too much like Austin Theory to me, or at least Austin Theory before like the ruthless Austin Theory now. Like, it's too similar. So if you did bring up Grayson Waller, then he would have to go on SmackDown. So for that reason. But I like that idea. And of course they were talking about Cameron Grimes possibly being brought up to the main roster. I'm wondering if that's going to be with a group though, or is it going to be with just him or a tag team or, because he looks good from what I've seen, but it's also cutting away from his character. He had a nice big beard, but he was kind of like the caveman. He was a really good wrestler and move Trevor Lee is like, and I don't know. I hope they don't strip away too much of his individuality because that's what obviously makes a wrestler is your ability, your charisma, and your way to differentiate yourself from everything else out in the pack. So, So hopefully the draft is actually taken seriously about it. And you know what? I'll tell you right now, they should do it on TV like they did back in the day, because not something that's just done online and we find out the next show. I want to see it on TV. Get someone getting pissed off and getting like beating someone up like that. Like that's to me, that's funny. I could totally see like a little like parts of that, like storylines of it. But we'll have to wait and see. And most likely that draft. I wonder if that draft's going to happen before Backlash or after. Probably the Monday after.
Well, I think they said they were talking about like May 8th. That's what I heard the rumor date.
Then that's the Monday after Backlash. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Backlash, I think, is on a Saturday. So
that'd be the 6th, 7th. Yep. So there you go. Unofficial breaking news. That the draft will happen on the Monday after Backlash. But Yeah. So when you were gone, Sauce, I was just kind of talking more about the Dakota Kai and Io Sky team. I was happy to see them as a team, but if they break up, which it most likely happen now that Io Sky has got a title shot, then yeah, Io Sky's still gonna have a push, but Dakota Kai, nah, she's just not going to. She's just like they brought back Tegan Knox, and it's like, where'd she go? Yeah, I know. Well, because the women get put in these random tag teams, like Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan just won the women's tag team titles. And by the way, what I called was going to happen at WrestleMania didn't happen at WrestleMania, but it finally happened on Raw yesterday.
Yeah,
Trish Stratus turned on, and I'm sitting there going, "This crap." I said it would happen at WrestleMania, but it was kind of funny seeing that. But yeah, you got another random tag team together of two talented women, but Raquel Rodriguez stuck now in this tag team, at least for the time being. Like she deserves, and they made sure to do a little spot there too, like with Bianca, like, and then she had a stare down at her, like Raquel Rodriguez had to stare down with her, and it's like, okay, all right, we got this, and I'm all about it. Raquel deserves a heel. Like, it doesn't have to be a heel; it just has to be like the aggressive giant, giantess. Yeah. So.
Well, I think this wouldn't be the first time. Let's say if Raquel finally does turn, this would be the first time Liv Morgan's been with a partner that turned on her, because I think the first one was
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea.
Yes, it was. Yeah, so, that's good. That's a very good point there.
If it comes to fruition, I say, hey, listen. In the future, I say, listen. If you need a heel turn, just partner up with Liv Morgan.
Oh, that's fun. That's more funny than it should be, but yeah.
But yeah, I would say, but yeah, I mean,
so
like I said, they go flip everybody around, but with D-Town guy, he's asking about will we see new GMs?
Man, unless it's the anonymous Raw GM on the laptop. No, I'm kidding. That was terrible. No, but
you know who'd be a great Raw. You know who'd be a great Raw. I'm saying, you know who'd be a great GM. Only because they ain't really doing nothing with him right now. Is the Miz.
Yeah, Miz would be a good one. I think Miz would be, because you're right. Like he's great on the mic. He would be great as that heel GM, and he'd have Maurice out there as the eye candy. For like I could see it too. Like Maurice would be there, and then if there's like women that need their have a problem, she would be like, he is busy. I don't take care of this or whatever, all this stuff, and it would be so funny.
Just imagine how ridiculous his office would be. Just
how blinged out it would be. Yeah. See, I'm all about that, Sauce. That's a great idea. Now, if he was one of them, who would be the other GM?
I
know.
Well, I guess Miz. So my mind. Well, if you want to guess the other one, you more than I say if you want to guess, you more than.
All right.
I'm trying to think of spot on top of my head.
Gosh, you know what? Oh my gosh.
Because normally sometimes they do a retired WWE veteran, like a Hall of Famer.
Okay. Pick it up what you're putting down. Okay. Ooh, dang, because I've already had so many before do it, and
you got people come back. I mean,
you could definitely have people come back.
Because Mick Foley's done it twice.
He has done it.
Kurt Angle has technically done it twice.
Mm-hmm. Man, gosh, there's so many people. There's so many cool, good choices. You know what? Mike Adamle. There we go. Bring back the championship scramble. Bring back the scramble. Just kidding. Unless it's actually with my eggs and bacon and whatnot, I don't want that. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. I do not support Adamle at all. But gosh, there's so many choices because, like, in my head, it'd be so cool to see like LA Knight do it. But I want him
Yeah, I was
wrestling.
just thinking about him.
But I just want him wrestling, so I don't want him to be stuck behind that. Oh gosh, that'd be cool. That'd be too cool right there. MVP, man. Let him do it. Let him do it, man. MVP would be great. Gosh, he'd be great too. Because like if he
Omos be a security guard.
Yeah, exactly. You got
it. Then, like, if people want to go to MVP to complain, they got to get through Omos first.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that works. That works. D-Town guy does have a good idea of William Regal. However, again, this is just the rumors, the dirt sheets and stuff that is that when he signed back with WWE, apparently he was not supposed to have his character on TV. Apparently that's what was said. Or he doesn't want to be on TV. We don't know. But that's still a great idea. That's because William Regal,
this would be like let's say if he did come back and take a GM role, this would be like his fifth GM run,
commissioner or GM run, because when they would do commissioner, gosh, so no, that's a good idea too. But I just like the idea with MVP because Omos, you can use Omos, but he's just security. Like someone gets mad, MVP, and Omos is like, and they're like, okay, whoa, sorry, okay, all right, I'll take that match. My bad. My
last one, like, this is an unrealistic one, but maybe years from now, who'd be actually a very entertaining GM? John Cena.
Oh yeah, yep, I can see that. I can see that.
He's always wearing a suit. He's always wearing a suit anyway, and he's great on the mic or whatnot. So it'd be like, I would say maybe 10 years from now, it would be cool to see John Cena as a GM.
Oh yeah, I could see that because it would be definitely in that role of he doesn't have to be active, he doesn't have to be physical, at all. But the name alone will have people like, oh, it's John Cena, So that's actually a good idea as well, down the road. But excuse me. But yeah, that's some good ideas there, Detailed Guy, and about the GMs. And just in general, but very good idea.
This did happen before, like back in like 2010. But I can't remember. I think he was Raw, but he was general manager of Raw.
Yeah,
he definitely had some moments.
That's when they really didn't care about the GM role at all. Like they didn't care at all at that point. Like when they cared about it, like with Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon, when they actually ran it, they were good. And like that was different, completely different era though. It wasn't. It was ruthless enough,
Okay, my bad. One more, because a lot of people forget that he's great on the mic, and he's a legend. Ron Damn Simmons.
That would be cool. That would be cool too, because you already have the name there. You already have the friggin' catchphrase. So you know what I'm saying? Like if they said something stupid, they just have to spot like he's just staring at them.
He just shake his hand, just like, damn.
Get out of my office. Damn.
Hey, what actually would be cool is if you had basically JBL as a GM and what's his name, Simmons as the other GM.
Yeah, and then when they would have to have a co-branded meeting, it would be like at the bar like thing, or it doesn't have to be a bar, but it would look like the kind of the bar thing, and like, all right, let's go over this. Let's go, Ron, let's go over. Come on, we got this. We have this deal going on with my show, your show. Like that would be cool. That's another good. See, we're giving you gold. We're giving you gold right here.
Okay, I know I said last one, but this would be my final one. Only because they've been doing it and like they've been doing it on YouTube or over down. Sure, Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Oh, that'd be fine too. Oh my gosh. You already know that they're great at their hosting abilities, not only like the show at WrestleMania and their mic skills. So, but yeah.
I mean, what else is Xavier Woods doing right now?
Exactly.
Big E is MIA. Kofi's I think still hurt. So,
yep. So hey, I'd be down for that for sure.
Right.
I mean, they actually just had LA Knight doing like some backstage promo thing with Xavier Woods where he broke his controller He was mad because and he was referencing his. It was cool though because they were referencing his show on SmackDown, which
Up, down, down. Yeah.
but that really never happened before. That never happened on TV, especially with McMahon. Like he always had his show, but they didn't really reference it on TV. So to me, that's a little bit of difference right there. Like let's bring these people on, and if that turns into a small feud, I'm all for it because like you said, it would give Xavier Woods something to do. But yeah, as for the GMs, I'd be down for it. So, but yeah, that's some great ideas for that draft, and trust me, the day after that, we'll be having the results from Backlash and the draft. If, like I said, it does happen on that Monday. So that's
we
gonna
go fight that Monday. Oh man.
Oh,
I might be at let's say Monday. I'll probably have to let's say I want to set something up where basically we watch it together.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure, man.
Your house, watch it.
So. Yeah, just pop over here. We'll watch it on that Monday. Because exactly. So we got to get that set up. But kind of moving on a little bit, just because talking a little bit more about the kind of the Triple H era, moving forward a little bit into like December-ish, where you have Survivor Series, they bring back War Games, great choice to do. I mean, the reports coming out that certain pay-per-views are going to be now cut. TLC, thank God. Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, gone.
Thank God.
Delete.
TLC, delete. Hell in a Cell, delete.
It's just you don't need them.
Push, delete. Braun Strowman's army pants, delete.
Yeah, that's still a misfire right there. He looks ridiculous in these tight pants. Like, why? Why?
Top Dollar's future, delete.
Oh gosh.
Viking Raiders future, now McMahon's back, delete.
Oh my gosh. But I'll say with Triple H, going into WrestleMania or going to the Royal Rumble, a lot of things were kind of like the gears were moving. Dirt sheets were losing their mind on who's going to show up, who's this, who's going to come here. And it pretty much was a straightforward Rumble, honestly. It really was. Cody Rhodes coming in at 30 kind of annoyed me. I feel like he should have came in at 15, 15 or 20 at least. But 30, nothing to the imagination. He's 30 and he's going to win. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would say the latest I would have had him come in was maybe 21.
Yeah,
or 23 is pushing it.
Yep. So that was just it was still okay show. It still had some good spots and everything, but just it was pretty straightforward when it came to that. And you could tell, and then moving forward then with the Elimination Chamber, it was still a really good show. Obviously the hype with being in Canada, hype for Sami Zayn, and it was just Sammy Mania, or WrestleZania, however you want to say it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we get closer and closer to WrestleMania. We'll backtrack just a second there. The rumors for literally, 72 hours? The Saudis bought WWE. What's going on? We had our show, and literally 10 minutes after our show went off the air on that Tuesday, everything blew up online. It was Saudis bought, and we're like, what in the world is going on? What is he talking about? There's no proof of any of this, and yet, but in those reports, they talk about other people involved that might want to buy WWE, and Endeavor was always in there. So, in my opinion, McMahon leaked that. He leaked the idea that they were going to be bought by somebody to get hype up for WWE or something in his head. I don't know, but it made sense since the Saudis literally categorically denied even having bought them, so. But yeah, it's and at that point, you move forward with then you get close to the WrestleMania, and then people start talking about McMahon. They start seeing him out in public. What's this guy doing? Then they start seeing other things start happening on shows. Well, that Omos, Brock Lesnar, that must have been McMahon. So, that must, and then of course how some of the booking happened at WrestleMania, which by the way, Cody Rhodes losing, that's a Triple H book. He booked it. It was already booked for months in advance. That was not McMahon screwing over Cody Rhodes. No, it was best for business, as Triple H so eloquently put so many times before. But of course, the breaking news that night actually here on with Primetime Chris, he basically broke that news at like midnight while we were still doing our wrap-up show about the Endeavor deal, saying that the Endeavor deal was happening. And then a few hours later, it was on the internet, on the other big news sites, was broke. And obviously that kind of took the wrestling world by storm. And unfortunately they took it as, well, McMahon's back. Like it's a big deal. It's the biggest deal in wrestling since WWE bought WCW in 2001. It's the biggest thing that happened in wrestling. And all people could talk about is just McMahon's involvement. And that's sad. That's really sad to think about, right? Like, this is a huge deal, lots of ramifications. There might be a lot of changes. There might not be so many big changes, but the fact that McMahon is an executive director on the board, immediately that's all people could care about. It's how much he has involved in creative, how mad people are, the morale of people. Dirt sheets are going to say one thing. It's until you actually see people believe. For like the tag team grizzled young veterans from Schism, I think they said they want to release. They got released. That's proof. That's like they didn't want to be here because that showed that happened. Bailey does a tweet like 2 weeks ago saying blah blah blah. All love stories come to an end. Bye. And then everyone's like, she's gone. Oh my God, Bailey's gone. She's gone. And then she's on TV yesterday. So could she leave next week? She might. But it's like, until I see someone that physically leave or say, I'm leaving this company for whatever reason, I don't believe anything,
Right.
People might be upset about the morale, and there's people that aren't upset about it, I know that's hard. That's a devil's advocate thing to say, but there's probably people that aren't upset about McMahon being back because, again, we still don't know exactly how much creative control he has, and then Triple H still being in charge of creative. And even with the deal happening, just because they showed the picture with all the board members of the new deal and Triple H wasn't there, so what? The only two people that were there were Nick Khan and Vince McMahon. So, and McMahon, apparently, he only has 18% share of the company, or some like voting rights. 18%. No 51%.
It's interesting. I think at this point now, I think it's the way they set up. Basically, Dana White is worse than Vince McMahon now.
I know, isn't that, to me, that's crazy to think about because years ago when UFC was like nothing, fledgling, going bankrupt, and when I say years ago, I mean just like 15 years ago, 20 years ago for sure, but even like 15 years ago, they were so fledgling, like people didn't watch it. Like now it's so hyped up and you see it everywhere. You see people talk about it. No one talks about UFC like that. They looked at UFC like casual fans, like it was, oh, you watch UFC? Oh, okay. Like same thing with wrestling. If I tell people that don't watch wrestling, yeah, I like pro wrestling, they're like, oh, pro wrestling, okay.
And then they'd be like, that's fake, right? I'd be like, your mama's fake too.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, here we go. His fist is not fake, like.
Or what I used to say is, oh, so you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta because that's real too, huh?
Yep. Oh, the Avengers are so, you believe in the Avengers too, right? They're real, I know. But UFC used to be so like fledgling that at one point when WWE was again extremely hot, there was talks even then for them buying UFC up. They didn't. UFC grew and grew and grew. And the fact is that UFC $12.4 billion to WWE $9.3 billion. I mean, billion's a lot. Don't get me wrong, but that's still close after all of what. And McMahon bought WWF for $1 million. $1 million. So he did something right in all those years, along with a lot of other people involved. But the Endeavor deal, the Endeavor strikes back. No, it is what it is. We have already kind of talked about it, so there's not much else to talk to because we don't know. All we know is we know the board of directors. We know in the interview that there's going to be changes and more, and it's still got to be solidified, the deal itself and finalized, I should say. And then also McMahon said a very interesting thing. I think we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. He said that there's going to be a name change in 4 to 6 weeks, most likely. And I'm like, a name change? That still, it's crazy to me. Like, you can't just change the name of your company. You had to do it for WWE. I get it. The Pandas. The damn Pandas.
Yeah.
But it would be crazy to think that you would have to change the name to it, and WWUFC. The F is back, baby. But no,
they
it's not
literally
going to be.
Just came out with it. It's crazy because they literally just came out with a video game like a couple weeks ago. So
I know, right? So to me, it just doesn't.
Name change.
It doesn't make sense that they would make a name change. If they made a name change, it would just be for the business only, right? So if I just don't see them combining those words like WWE and UFC. Now, I don't know if you're I guess someone in the stock market, but UFC, or I'm sorry, Endeavor that owns UFC, the ticker name is TKO. TKO, like in fighting.
Yeah.
So to me, if you want to do a business name, it could be based off of that, but the company would still be a separate thing, right? So you'd have that could be its whole branded name for both together. And then WWE would still be the name you would have for the shows, and UFC would still, because the money alone to do all the rebranding of that would be astronomical, So hopefully that's all I hope he meant by the name change. Yeah. But we'll have to wait and see. So,
right.
But right now there isn't much else about the Endeavor deal until it gets finalized. But that's where it moves on to the Revenge of Vince McMahon. Revenge of McMahon, which is funny. When I was coming up with these titles, I was originally I had Revenge of the Mac, and I'm just I like because Revenge of the Mac, Revenge of the Mac,
and cheese.
So, and yes, I know it was Return of the Jedi, but no, the original name was Revenge of the Jedi. And then they had to change. Then they changed it. So I don't want to hear anything from anybody about it. But yeah, obviously we're in kind of a gray, kind of like a mist fog right now. McMahon obviously was in charge of that Raw after Mania. We saw how devastatingly terrible it was. SmackDown was not there. This Raw, he was not there. Triple H took over, and you actually,
How was SmackDown on Friday? Did you watch it?
It was good. I DVR them, and then watch it. Yeah, it was good. It was pretty good. Yeah,
okay.
You had some separated matches from some of the tag teams, but overall the wrestling was good. The LWO segment was fun to watch. I mean, everything flowed really well. So to me, it was a winner. It was absolutely a winner. And Raw was pretty good yesterday. Again, it's always kind of that lull after WrestleMania anyways. But Raw after Mania should not be a lull. That should definitely pull out any stops you can. And Matt Riddle's the only person who turned. Come on.
That's supposed to be one of your hottest. That's supposed to be your best Raw of the year.
Well, it's the Raw that you actually keep repeating as a hashtag, throughout the whole night. Oh, it's the Raw after Mania. The Raw. If you're going to do that, then you better have a great show with a lot of people. I mean, come on. But yeah, so McMahon in charge of that. apparently many rewrites during the show. There's lots of evidence of this. And then he was not there last week for SmackDown and today or yesterday for Raw. Good shows. So I just, again, wish I could just be that little fly drone or something, and just be listening to these conversations of what's happening between Triple H, McMahon, and whoever else, there, Nick Khan, and stuff like that. Like, can we get on the same page here? Because if we're not on the same page, do you know what gets hurt? Is us, the fans. We get hurt because you guys aren't on the same page about what you want to do. And that annoys me. And that's why going through this mist that we're dealing with, we have backlash. Oh, and here's the funny thing too. So remember the last couple years where it was WrestleMania Backlash? The logo was literally the WrestleMania. So it is just Backlash. It is not WrestleMania Backlash. But wrestlers keep referring to it as that. Like, not the commentators, but Cody Rhodes during his promo yesterday referred to it at WrestleMania Backlash. Somebody else referred to it as WrestleMania Backlash. So I don't know if it was he was told to say it. Like, it's almost like a way to get around it. Did McMahon say, hey, Cody, like, say WrestleMania Backlash? Well, Vince, it's just Backlash. I know, just say WrestleMania Backlash. The logo will say Backlash, but you say it. So then it's still my idea. Said, like, I don't know.
Like Vince, you don't work here.
What are you doing here? Who let you in? Oh my gosh. He got in there because he saw some meaty women. That's why he saw some meaty women.
If I was Triple H, I would have rolled a newspaper and just constantly smack McMahon like, no. Smack him like a dog. Took a chair and smack him upside the head like a dog. Like, no.
Water bottle. Hey, get down. So again, we're kind of at this point in the mist. We're basically wading through a mist of not knowing the future. And it does kind of suck because like every day you want to know, like, hey, is there going to be a tweet? Is there going to be some big news that breaks? And that's kind of like where we're at, And
so I heard that the deal is technically doesn't get finalized till like summertime or something like that. I heard.
Yep, that's what I heard.
Like gotta go through the FCC and all that crap.
Oh yeah, especially any deal that big, they definitely have to go through it to make sure there's no like antitrust violations or anything like that. So yeah, it's a lot of money taking place, changing hands and all that. So I like right now it's cool. Here's the cool thing. So look, you look at Backlash. Backlash is actually in Puerto Rico. First time since they had, I believe, New Year's Revolution was in Puerto Rico back in like 2006, maybe. I'm throwing that out there because I know they only did that show 3 years. So and it's just cool. Bad Bunny's hosting it because again, it's cool seeing him interacting with everything, and he'll probably have a match. Most likely, it's a tag match. Probably Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny versus Dom and Damian Priest. That's kind of funny about the Priest thing, though, right? Like he was at WrestleMania with Bad Bunny, and now it's like, bro, like when they did their little altercation last week, and like he shoved like Dom, Priest would kind of looked at him at first, going, bro, and he slammed him over, and he kind of was, dude, you made me do this, man. I'm sorry. Like, and it still just made me think, is he still trying to keep that kind of kayfabe about how we were like buds at WrestleMania? And I'm like, I appreciate it a little bit. You couldn't really hear him too much on the mic, but I thought it was funny.
Right.
So, Backlash has always been that show that it's always literally rematches or some variation of a rematch. This year, it's going to be completely different. You're not getting a Roman Reigns rematch for the title. You'll get a tag team match. You'll get the one, Usos are going to get their rematch for sure. You're not going to get a U.S. title rematch, obviously, but you could see Austin Theory. I really don't know. Maybe Seth Rollins. Maybe.
Well, they already did that dance.
I know they did, but I'm trying to think of who else could actually jump up in that spot now.
LA Knight.
See, and that's where Knight could go to Raw. That's a good point in that draft. I know it's the day after. I know we're not talking about, but LA Knight moving to Raw is a really smart idea right there, actually.
Yeah.
He's been doing good there, don't get me wrong, but I think that's a good move right there. But this Backlash is not going to be really the same. You're not going to get a lot. You're not. I mean, Io Sky's facing Bianca Belair, so that's not even a rematch. So Rhea Ripley is not going to face Charlotte if she even has a match, which she should have one. But this pay-per-view, which normally is rematches for the most part, is really not going to have any, except for probably the men's tag team title.
Right.
So, unless the Intercontinental title, unless they do like something for that, which, well, to be seen. We'll see on that.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be interesting right after that too, because to see, with the draft, how McMahon, if it'll really show its colors there with that draft, and then afterwards, and the morale, because that draft will happen, and some people might not like especially the lower card wrestlers that didn't get doled out later. Because you remember when that happened with Zelina Vega and Aleister Black, they got put on 2 different shows.
Yep.
And the reports came out that they were pissed off about, which guess what? If I married my partner and I can't even travel with him, that's a little shitty. So then like a week later, Aleister Black, they're on the same show now. Yeah.
Yep.
So you'll see stuff like that might happen. I don't know. But I think, I don't know. I hope the future, when the deal goes through, everything gets finalized with the who's in charge of what in WWE. That's why people are so uncertain. They're uncertain because they don't know Triple H, if how much he's going to be still in charge of being, chief chief. I keep saying content creator, but yeah, it's like, it's like what the future holds. Honestly, it really is. So,
right.
I don't know. What would you like to see, Sauce, in like by SummerSlam? So that's what, August 5th. So
McMahon
by SummerSlam,
for McMahon to disappear and never return, just go somebody just trick him and go to outer space and don't come back.
So as much as we can get Elon Musk, we can have Elon Musk. We can contact him. Let's get one of his rockets. Let's see what we can do.
Tell them that the convince McMahon that they could do WrestleMania out on the moon somewhere. Just take them there and don't have them come back. So they're speculating also Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch at SummerSlam.
Okay, all right. I could say. I mean, I could see that, but do you think they'd wait that long to do it? Like,
with
Backlash coming up. See, I agree though. I think they should build that, especially if they're really going to put the effort into that storyline. I mean, I'm all for it. So build up that storyline, and then wait till SummerSlam. Then you have a big name there. I think that would work better than putting them on real quick. So yeah, that's but so. Well, any other ideas except for McMahon on the moon?
Okay, so going forward, I mean, by the time we get to SummerSlam, obviously Roman's probably still gonna be champion by then, but let's split up the tag team belts. Let's as far as like brands, actually you have people stay on their brands. At this point, if Triple H is still gonna be a part, like somewhat, Charter Creative, start working on your women's roster a bit more. So because he wants to do another Evolution pay-per-view, you got to work on your women's roster a bit. So I would say split the belt, stronger women's roster, and I would say focus on the tag. If you're gonna focus on the tag team division, really focus on it. Don't just keep putting random people together.
Yeah.
for the sake of doing it. And I just hope that everything just doesn't go to hell. That's the best answer I can give you.
Yeah, that's the good answers. It really is. I mean, you really hit it on the head there, because just don't waste what has already been built. That's
Yeah.
the idea, that like you'd have someone built up so much and then being so scared because that they would just throw all that away. Like it's terrible. Like right now, Gunther being champion, close to 300 days as champion or whatnot. It's had great title defenses. They've really pushed him. The worst thing they could do, like if McMahon was really back in charge for full time for him, yeah, he wouldn't strip him of the belt. He just wouldn't give him any chances on TV. Like he would just have him be like. Remember when Nakamura was champion?
Yeah, everyone forgot about it.
Yeah, literally, no one remembers when he was champion. Hell, even Sami Zayn, he was the only one that even brought that belt back a little bit. But even then, they didn't push the belt that much with Sami Zayn, but in Nakamura, and they were doing the championship back and forth because they had just come out with the new belt that was, in my opinion, yeah, that's, I don't know, not my favorite, not my favorite at all. But it means something now. But McMahon would just not put him on TV. The belt just wouldn't be defended ever. Right. And then that would just kill any momentum a wrestler would have. They would just have this belt as like accessory. Yep, it'd be an accessory. It wouldn't even be something worth defending. And that's what I'm afraid to happen. And it would be stupid. But when someone as stubborn as McMahon, you got to deal with you got to deal with people being that stubborn. So, oh man. But I'm really, like I said, I'm hoping we'll have a lot more information over the next month. Because we're already almost halfway through April. So, this year's going by fast. Let me tell you, it's going by. It's moving. It's moving.
Yeah.
And I just think once we have more information about the creative team in place, that's really what needs to happen, is that to set people's minds at ease. And I know they don't like saying that information to the public, but they have been more forthcoming about that over the past few years, about like who's in charge of what, real, what not, storyline wise. And I feel like if they could just get set up who's in charge of like what, and then let people know, just be very transparent about it. If for example, my business I work at, if you go to my website, you can literally click and see who all my top people are. Like the CEO, owner, COO, CEO, even goes down to like managers, main like supervisor in each department. And that's cool. I'm like, okay. If WWE, in my opinion, should do that. They should do something similar to that. And it would put people more at ease, I guess. There's still going to be people mad that McMahon's even around. That's never going to change. It's not going to change. So that's where we're at, honestly. He can get his revenge on whatever he thinks and his rewrites, his throwing away the script in this, like during the show, his shenanigans, whatever. That's fine and dandy. But as long as we're still here and watching, and Triple H and them can put on a good show, I'll be here for it. So that's how I look at it. We love our wrestling. We love all wrestling. I know this was just more about WWE today, obviously. And yes, there's a lot of other wrestling. But today, this was a WWE day. Don't worry. AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, you get your turn. Another day. So, but yeah. But trust me, we'll have some of these fun little ideas for shows in the future. But once more information comes out about this deal, we're definitely going to let you guys know about it. So, but that's pretty much all I really much had. But we do, of course, as always, like to bring up, our heat of the week and just something cool, fun that happened, great that happened between a wrestler, faction, anything in the wrestling community. So, Sauce, what's your heat of the week?
I'm gonna go. So last week, it was a big weekend. A lot was going on. Couldn't, everybody couldn't, be the heat of the week. But this week, is solely I'm giving it to Carmelo Hayes. Let's see what he does with the NXT Championship. Let's see if he can carry this company. I have full faith that he can do it. The sky's the limit for him. This is his push, to lose. So yeah, let's see what he can do. Because I know
Yeah.
he's got it. They're getting ready to do like a fatal four-way for the number one contender.
Yep.
And then go ahead and have him go ahead with his first defense. And I guess he's gonna defend it at Battleground, which is I want to say is either the same weekend or like the weekend before or after AEW. I forgot what they made pay-per-view is, but yeah, I would say with Mr. Hayes, yeah, that's my heat of the week. You get the brass ring, let's see what you do with it.
Gotcha. Okay. I gotcha. So it's a little hard for me just back and forth with a lot of different things going on, obviously, but I am gonna have to give my heat of the week to I'm gonna do it because I called this for WrestleMania, and I think like you said, if they can build this to a storyline, I think it would work. But I'm gonna give it to Trish Stratus for one, still looking damn fine after so long, and still being able to wrestle, and turning heel, which she hasn't been heel in like a very long time. She wasn't really a heel, so. I think the last time she was, the Christian thing, right? With Christian when she turned, yep,
20.
yep. So
I'm sure she's had some spurts. I want to say she also did a. I want to say she also did a heel run, like a year or two before she retired.
oh, okay, that's about right.
Because I think for a minute did it because they flipped the script on her and Lita. When Lita was the Edge became the heel, then she became the baby face.
Yeah,
For a minute, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the last notable time was WrestleMania 20.
Yeah. So I'm a fan. I thought it was cool seeing her back. I was like, all right. I still would love. I'm not gonna lie. If Mickie James would come back for another match,
right?
They could tear it down. That'd be real cool to see. So, but yeah, and of course, we love all you guys chatting with us, watching our show. And sorry for any technical difficulties. Well, that's just how it is. Technology can't help it, but we have to have it. So there you go.
Yeah, Wi-Fi's been pretty booty cheeks around here. So
yeah, it was. Mine was not good last week. Hey, what, Sauce? My power actually went out earlier today, and then it went out completely, not like a little brownout.
Yeah,
came back on like a minute later. And I was like, okay, that was weird. There was no storm. It was beautiful. As you can see, it was gorgeous today. And then I got a message from DT saying, we like 40 minutes later, we saw you have a power outage. Your estimated timer for your return of power was like 7:00, and it had happened at like 4. And I had already got my power back. So I'm like, well, thanks for letting me know what my power. So I don't know. I don't know what they were doing, but it is what it is. It's the technology, But if you got anything else, man, I think we had a good show. And again, I love all you guys talking and chatting with us about wrestling because that's what we like to do.
Right.
But as always, got Dr. Love here and Sauce Bronson. There we go. Got
That'd be me
right there.
So most importantly, listen, guys. We had a big week of wrestling last week. We're gonna see what goes down with this endeavor. But until then, at the end of the day, I say y'all be safe, and most importantly, y'all be good.